In this episode of Paint Society, I'm gonna talk to you and show you how I overcame one of my biggest struggles when it comes to painting. And behind me, we have this beautiful 2025 TX, and my work needs to be perfect on this one. My biggest struggle that I've always had is right in here. And even from the factory, you can see that the buildup on the edge of each one of these panels is going to occur right here because the paint really has nowhere to go. And this defect that has haunted me for the whole entire paint career is also known as sausaging and picture framing. And the way that the defect will occur is when you're passing back and forth over this edge and the paint has nowhere to go but to build up on each one of the edges, so it will build up thick and leave an ugly sausage and sometimes run down the panel. But not to worry, in this video, I'm gonna show you how I've been avoiding that problem. First off, you're gonna wanna start off with the K600. It comes in these sheets that you can tear apart. Then you're gonna use this block, but not just any block, you're gonna use this hard attachment so we can really cut it flat. Then we'll put our sandpaper right on top. This has all been sanded with 800 with the DA just gone over to scuff it up. You can see here, there's that edge still that exists. If you don't remove this and flatten it out, you're gonna be building on top of it and making that even thicker, and on a black paint job, it's even more noticeable. So that's when this comes into place. We've got the door slightly ajar, and we can see here, since it's such a hard block at that edge, we're holding it on the edge here of the door, and we're gonna flatten it out just enough, not to burn through and to get through the paint. We don't wanna do that, but we just wanna take that little excess from the factory off. And even on the factory paint job, you will have this. And on another paint job, let's say this has been repainted, it's gonna be built up if the last guy didn't take a little extra time to take off this extra millage at the paint edge. And what I like about this K600, it's coarse enough to cut, but it's fine enough that you can put paint right over it. And how do you know when to stop? Well, once you start to see that that little shiny edge isn't there anymore, that's a good indication that it's pretty flat. And just like that, we've eliminated and flattened out that edge on the factory. Now, on most of these, you're gonna find that the edge is sometimes on one side. If you come over here, you really don't have much of an edge, to be honest, but we're still gonna go over it. So let's put some tape on that fender. Now, with this edge not being too bad, we don't have to put too much pressure on it. We just wanna flatten it out a little bit. Now, in some cases, when it's hard, you can take it off, lightly fold your paper, and just go there on the edge. You're not gonna create any waves with this. You're just gonna flatten out that edge a little bit. Perfect, now we have our front door blend all scuffed up and ready to go. Let's move to the back door and the quarter panel and let's discuss those. And this is the old door. You can see the amount of damage here that would warrant a new door. So what we did is we put the new door on, and the reason why is because we had so much damage here that was PDR'd out, and then we did some skim coat of filler and then some primer work. Most of the time, you're gonna find a buildup on the door edges rather than the quarter panel. But this quarter panel here sustained some damage that needs some primer sanding. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll double check that edge right here. Now, what I'm gonna be doing here, since it's a high build primer, we're just gonna be putting a P320 on it, and we're gonna find that body line edge and then mark it with tape. Let me show you how to do that. We're gonna sand on a 45 towards that body line in one direction, and it's gonna expose that body line that we wanna keep nice and sharp. And what that will do is expose that edge that I wanna tape on and I wanna protect so that we don't start to round off this body line. Now, this is a little bit extra that I'm throwing in the video because it's very important for you all to learn when sanding and preparing for paint. Now, with that tape on there, I can continue my sanding, flattening it out, making sure that I don't over round this actual body line because it's very sharp. We'll make sure also to change the direction so we get a nice even sand. And for anyone that's wondering, I'm using this 3M block. It's the flat one. It's about a 5-inch block. We'll wipe it off, and let's reveal that body line edge. Super sharp. Now, by doing this, I can do the actual reverse right now. I can protect that upper edge and tape right to that sanded edge and create that nice crispy line. Perfect. Now I can sand on this flat panel at a 45 towards the body line. In this area, I hit some gray primer that was underneath. It's not metal, but it's a good thing because we're flattening it out. Now we can pull our tape. And we have a perfect body line that fades into the door. And now we're ready for P500. And once the whole panel is scuffed with the P500, we'll put on a 3M cleaning disc and get to work. That will show us where we still need to do a little scuffing. Clean again. And it looks like we're all scuffed up. Now let's attack that edge. Now this edge is very flat, but we're still gonna go over a little bit with our folded sandpaper right on the edge. Because there's some contours, it's just a little bit easier to do it here. And it's not gonna take much because again, this edge is really not built up at all. And on this particular door, what I did, again, is I painted the interior of the door, so when you open it up, it's all finished. I put sealer on here, and then I put one coat of base. Now, all I'm gonna do is scuff up that base with a P500. And that's all there is to it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some water and some scuff stuff on these panels so we can clean them up and get them all ready to paint. That way we don't have any sanding dust in our paint job. Now we'll let it dry and we'll move it into the booth. But first, we gotta take one out of the booth. All right, here's last night's job. We used the same exact methods that we were using over on the TX. So you can see that the edges here are beautiful. Now, granted, there will never not ever be an edge because that is a natural buildup, but this edge is completely just like the factory. And same thing over here, just like the factory as well. This is a beautiful edge. Yeah, you don't want to build up edges on these cars, especially these nice Lexuses. This one came out really good. Let's get this unmasked and get this out of here. And here it is, guys, all unmasked. It came out really, really good. You can see that the texture match is on point. It's perfect. Now this one came in for the scratch, the size of a gnat's eyelash. And they say that the owner is really, really picky. But I can guarantee you one thing. He's not pickier than me. Let's get this out. And with a little bit of movie magic, it's all masked up and it's ready to get sprayed. Now let's go over that quarter panel where we were doing some of that sanding on that black primer. I'm gonna talk about what we're gonna do now before we proceed. Now, as you can see here with our aggressive 320 sanding, we did a good job of leveling everything out, but we've got some primer underneath. This is gray primer that we used as a fill primer before, and then the black primer, my original intent was gonna be that we would just scuff up this black primer and then we would just put paint right over it and we wouldn't have to seal anything. We could technically put paint right over this, but there's a little bit too much going on. And with the cut throughs of the primer underneath, what I'm gonna do for the best practice is we're just gonna seal this quarter panel here. And I'm gonna tape off the edge of the door here so we don't get any of the 2K on the base coat. A base coat being 1K, one part, doesn't have a hardener built into it. So some of that aggressive 2K can land on your base coat, start to wrinkle it. You don't want that. So make sure you put some tape over there with some paper just so we can seal it. And again, all of the overspray is moving towards the back of the vehicle so we don't have to worry about it going towards the front. So just a little bit of 18-inch will do the trick. Now, of course, all the panels have been cleaned already, so they're ready to paint. So don't do this until you're actually all ready to go, because you're gonna pull this paper off and continue with the base coat on the whole entire panel after this. So just a little protection here so we can seal this and not get it onto the door. All right, we'll go ahead and seal it. We got the DV1 here. We'll use this for sealer, and then we'll also use this for the base coat. And that's all there is to it. We'll let this dry, and then we'll go ahead and move into the base. That's just about dry, so we'll go ahead and peel off our tape and paper. Next up, we have our blending additive. We're using the same gun after it's been cleaned out. All brands will have some sort of blending additive. We're gonna be using it on our blend panel. Our blend panel is very scratched up with the 800 grit, so this will go down and give it a nice solid foundation so that when the black metallic can lay, it can lay right on top and will not look uneven. We'll carry this on to the door and a quarter panel, so everything's nice and even. Since it's a 1K product, we don't have to worry about putting it right over the base. And we'll go over everything one last time. Remember, we're using those new tack rags on the channel, and we have our Ion Star. So basically what you want to do is you want to go over it first with the tack rag, and then you come over it with, basically this is an anti-static gun. It allows the paint to really go on a lot smoother, and it will cut down on dirt or debris that's on the surface of the vehicle itself. Everything here is super smooth, so I know we're going to have a beautiful paint job. Now, in regards to the title of the video, the struggles of that paint line on the edge, base coat, really you're not going to have any of those issues because it doesn't have any mill build. Really, it's just pigment. That's all it really is. It's the thinnest material that you'll put on the vehicle in the whole painting process. So base coat, basically all we're going to do is we're just going to come here and we're going to start. I like to start from the bottom up so I can see visually my wet edge at the top rather from the top down. We'll start towards the bottom of the rear door, and we'll start to do the blend right away because everything's got black already, so we got full coverage. So we'll get out of this in 2 coats. I'll put 1 coat down, I'll let it flash for a good maybe 10 minutes, and then I'll finish with the 2nd coat, and then it'll be ready for clear. I'll walk the whole side now. Just because it's a metallic and we want everything to be nice and even, this really helps out when it comes to getting that nice finish when this car is out in the sun. You'll see a nice consistent metallic look to the whole vehicle. And this is as easy as it gets, guys. You've got everything already in your black primer or your black sealer. The coverage is 1, 2, 3. I'm using it extra slow as well, so this is gonna really smooth out. Remember, it's gonna go on really wet looking. The solvent has to come out of the paint, then it'll evaporate, not evaporate, but it will dry up and it'll leave a nice smooth finish. And then I'll do 1 extra coat just to make sure, even though I know that's probably pretty much good to go here, just 1 coat alone. Here it is, all ready for clear coat. I gave it a good 25 minutes. I went and had some lunch. It's ready to go. Now let's talk about that clear that I've been using for a long time that I really like. And here's a clear coat we're gonna be using. It's a 4.0 Select Clear. I've been using this for years. Guys, this stuff is great. And what I love about it is it's kind of hard to run. It's thick, it stays right where you put it. You can't spray it with just any gun. I've been using a WS400 series too. It breaks it up beautifully. Let's go ahead and get it mixed up. This is a 4-to-1 clear coat. We're ready to clear. Let's talk about how I can help you overcome your struggles of getting that picture framing. How do they occur? Basically, they occur when we're going over the panel and we're going over it and we're gonna double up at least once or twice in a couple areas, and the paint has nowhere to go. The clear coat, it's gonna collect at the edges and it's gonna start to collect there and start to run down, and it's gonna create something we call picture framing. Some guys can do it. Some guys are gonna have to take a little bit extra measures like myself. Now, of course, there's always the way to go over the whole entire panel and clear it and walk it out. I can't do that. I'm not really good at that. You have to know your strengths and you have to know your weaknesses. I cannot keep it nice and wet by walking it out. So I came up with another method that's going to help me. And you're gonna think to yourself, why didn't you think of it sooner? Basically, all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our spray gun and we're gonna turn it so it's vertical. Then we're gonna put one coat of clear up and down. So we're gonna come here, up and down, and that's it. And we know that this has one pass in this area like everything else has. Instead of going back and forth, and accumulating the clear, we're gonna do one pass. Where your edges meet is where you're going to get the buildup. You're not gonna get the buildup over here, but you will get it here, and you will get it right here. So I'll start this job off by putting a clear coat vertically here and the middle of the door, and just fill in the empty spots on the panels. And that's it. And that's it. Now what we'll do is we'll come to about the edge right here and we'll stop. We're not going past it. But I'm gonna start at the front of the vehicle and move towards the back. I'm also gonna be careful here at this edge and not to really come and give it full clear coat on the edge for two reasons. You can darken up that edge. Not that it's a big deal here on this color 223 dark black metallic, but we also don't want to build up that edge. So two things you can do. Do it vertically, and over here on the edge, maybe just come short, maybe about an inch or so when you're coming to do your pass. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray. The first coat doesn't need to be completely wet, but I'm coming up short about 2 or 3 inches here and allowing the overspray to finish up the edge. And that's all we want to do. Another area where you're going to notice runs is around those door handles. So make sure you don't get those too wet, especially on the first coat. Just get some clear coat on it. That clear coat's going to help create like a sticky bond for your second coat to go on. And when you have your base coat so nice and smooth like we have here with the extra slow, your clear coat's just going to follow. And all we're doing now essentially is just filling in the open spaces with clear coat. Just going to take it nice and easy, keep it moving. It's a lot harder to recover from a run that's in the first coat of clear than it is in the second. Because that first coat has that backing of a nice solid foundation, and if you get a run in the first, it's going to be pretty tough. But I found the best way to do it, and before I made this video, I've been practicing this routine for quite some time, and to verify it, and it works, guys. And we'll just finish strong here on the quarter panel and keep it moving. Now I'll allow about a good 10 minutes in between coats of clear. That will give a chance for that clear to really get like the backside of a piece of tape. So when we put the second coat on, it can grab it instead of running down it, right? If you allow your clear not to dry long enough and you're rushing, what's gonna happen is your clear on the second coat is just gonna hit the panel and just go down instead of hitting the panel and sticking. And here's that first coat, guys. It looks beautiful. Probably not perfect on the first coat, but it's good enough to get us to the second coat where we can fine tune it and make it look perfect. 10 minutes later, we're ready for the second coat. I'm gonna follow the same exact technique that I did on the first, but I'm gonna go a little bit slower when I do it, but not slow enough because I don't want to start to see the buildup. We can already see a little bit of the highlight of where that edge was from the factory when it built up just a little bit. because when we sanded it, we flattened it out, but we didn't completely take it down. If we did, we probably would go through some of the sealer from the factory. But at any rate, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on a little bit slower, and then we're gonna continue with our panel by panel and really get the finish on that we want. To do that, we're gonna keep the same technique. We're at 26 PSI. We have our fan wide open on this Series 2 gun, and on the actual fluid itself, we are at wide open as well. So everything, we're not restricting the gun, and we're just playing with the actual distance and the speed, control the amount of paint that goes on the panel. And what I love about this mask is now I can get into the paint and see what I'm doing without having to worry about the overspray. So I'm gonna come a little bit closer. I'm gonna kind of move up and down just a little bit, see what I'm doing, put it on. All right, and that's it. We're not gonna touch this with any more paint within this area. That's it. And here I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna kind of play with it a little bit. I'm not full trigger, and I'm gonna come down, and that's it. I have a beautiful finish right there. Let's go back and let's fill in the open spots. Oh, be careful. Sometimes if you don't switch it, it can get you into trouble. Good thing that was low. All right, continuing where we were. Now guys, I developed this whole entire procedure on my own out of pure frustration of getting a job coming out so nice, but having that picture framing or those sausage edges at the end. And what does that really do? That makes you spend at least a couple hours on all those edges, sanding them down, getting them to the point where they're flat enough for polishing, and doing that not only on one, but 2 or 3 panels on a big job can really take those extra couple hours that you could have done doing something else. And granted, even after all the extra time of trying to flatten those out and buff them, you'll still see a little bit of it. I'd always hope if I got one that there would be one of those clear edge guards that would go over it to hide it, but that's not always the case. And for paint reference or clear coat reference, we're about maybe 4 to 5 ounces per panel of clear coat on the second coat here. The first coat's probably just a couple ounces just to get that nice grip. On this second coat here, we're putting it down a little bit slower because we want to create that smooth finish. Now, when the paint goes down, it's gonna smooth out a touch more. So I don't want you here all day trying to get the perfect finish as you're spraying. I want you to come back and take a look at your paint. After a few minutes, you'll notice that it starts to flow out and look a little bit more consistent and flat. We'll start here at the bottom of the edge. Now, some guys, like I said, they can walk a panel, no problem. And you might be watching this video saying, well, that doesn't really relate to me. I can take care of that, no problem. But you might have learned something else in the video. And that's what it's about. If you can watch my video and learn one thing that you didn't know, or if you guys can make one comment that I didn't know about, then we've effectively learned. Remember, I keep on learning with everything I do, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. And we'll just finish strong right here at the edge, and that'll wrap this paint job all the way up. All right, let's take a look at it. Now, the proof is in the pudding, guys. I wouldn't show you anything that I didn't test out first, and I strongly believe in it. If we take a look at our edges here, there's no more buildup than there would be on a factory finish. It's nice and crispy, it's nice and clean. There's no excessive sausaging or picture framing on the edges. If we come over to this side, you can see here, again, it's nice and clean, it's nice and smooth, it's nice reflection. Just one day I was painting, I'm like, let me try this, and believe it or not, it worked. And the thing that you'll find is that anywhere that you paint close to the edge, even if you're not coming over it, the paint is gonna flow out towards the sides. That will be the reason why sometimes you paint something, you clear something, and you come back in the booth and there's a run or there's a little drip or there's a little sag that wasn't there at first because the paint is still flowing out. Now I'm gonna bake this. A lot of guys are scared to bake. I'm gonna tell you something. The baking does not cause the runs. If you over apply the product, it's going to run no matter what. Whether you let it air dry for 2 hours or you bake it and it's dry in 30 minutes. It's not going to make a difference. So I'm gonna bake this because I gotta get it out of here and get something new in here. But let's go ahead and get it baked and get it out, and let's check it out. And here it is, guys. We baked it at 104 degrees for 40 minutes. It's dry. It's not completely cured, but it's dry enough to get out of here. You see those edges are nice and crispy. That gloss is amazing still. We don't lose any gloss. And we've effectively have put this back to the factory specification, and we use that little tip trick that you can use right now on your own jobs. So I hope this helps you out. This has been one of my biggest struggles, and there's struggles all the time with painting. Another struggle will arise and we'll figure it out. And I wanted to share with you how I fix it. So if there's a different way that you do it in the comments, please let me know. Guys, this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. Let's get this out of here and check it out.